Are you frozen? Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I don't know what Andrew's doing, but I'm here. So it's just gonna be you and me today, apparently, because he's kind of lost it. But on a good note, we have finished school. Wait, good. Oh, you're doing good. Okay. I was like, good that Andrew's lost it? That's a problem. On a good note, we have finished school. So sorry if you haven't quite done, finished your semester yet, but we're happy. And we're happy to be here with you. Are you going to talk at any point? Because this is awkward. I feel like I'm just talking to myself. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Phoebe. Hey, Luke. Hey, Jillian. And Ian. All right. He's gone. Wake up. Anywho. So before we get started, yeah, he really is, Phoebe. I agree. Hey, Andrew. At least one of the Andrews is in his right state of mind. Anywho, so Sunday we do not have Generate because of the musical, which some of you are in, which I'm excited for. At least maybe not that are on tonight because you're in practice right now, but that's all right. So no Generate Sunday. Tonight or tomorrow or at some point this weekend, we are going to be posting an Instagram poll to see what you guys want to watch for our Christmas party and Generate Connect the following week, December 20th. So I need you guys to be thinking. We already have a few suggestions. Are you gonna talk? Because this is really weird. We need you guys to be thinking about suggestions on what to watch for the movie. So we are going to be posting some suggestions that we've already gotten at some point this weekend, so be on the lookout so that you can decide what we want to watch. So there you go. Frozen? No, I don't think we're going to watch Frozen. I feel like that would not go over too well. Yes, he is blinking. At least he's alive. I don't know what his problem is. He's kind of scaring me. And I really hope he starts talking, but whatever. It's all good. So Ian says the Grinch. That is one of the options. Luke says the Grinch. Oh, Elf. I don't know. That one's kind of weird. Okay, this is really weird. Can you stop? That's awkward. All right. So let's get started since Andrew is not going to join us and he's going to be really weird and being dumb. So we're going to start with a game. You made me open PowerPoint. We're going to start with a game, and I want you. Ooh, Polar Express. That'd be a fun one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's a good one.
Santa Claus.
That's
but then you can't watch like all
Express.
three.
Hey guys, how's it going?
The problem with the Santa Claus movie is it comes in like a trio, so you can't watch one without the others. That'd be a problem.
Yeah. Can we talk for a second though? I don't appreciate the fact that you said I was being dumb.
You were. I mean, let's just be real.
I agree with Natalie that shots were fired.
Anywho,
yeah.
So we're going to start with playing a game. So I want you guys to post in the chat. And we're not lagging tonight, so that's nice. We're not doing it on Zoom. We're doing it on regular YouTube. So I have a game called Fake News because tonight we are talking about question number 2 of asking for a friend, which is...
Yeah, we are going to be asking the question of how can we know that Jesus is real? God. How can we know that Jesus is God?
You totally let it question.
Clearly that one.
How can we know?
How can we know? How can you know? How can I know that Jesus is God? That's what
Jesus is God, yes.
Sorry.
So we're going to play a game called Fake News. Because we all know there's a lot of fake news.
You have to say it right.
Fake news.
Look at them and do it.
Fake news.
That's not good.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Then you do it.
You gotta make sure that you say it correctly and you say that it's fake news.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, so type in the chat either real or fake in all caps, okay? As your answer, either real or fake, all caps.
And if you say that it's fake news, then you have to make this voice and say that it's fake news.
Yeah, they're totally not going to do that. Because we can't tell if they're doing that or not.
Okay.
So, anywho. All right, so I'm going to give you...
It's going to be a happy little game. Here we go.
I'm going to give you some headlines that are either real or fake. Headlines, news headlines. So let's start. Number 1.
Bonus points if you text me doing the fake news. Anyway, all right.
Like a video of them doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, video. If you text me a video, if you don't have my number, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna put it on
You
here.
can text me too.
But you can text it to Brittany if you have hers. So fake news. All right. Anyway.
Okay. So number 1, this is one of the headlines. Is it real or fake? Spotify launches playlists for dogs left home alone.
Do not go look that up.
No.
You're not allowed to look it up. You just have to make a guess, and then we'll
Real
let you know.
or fake? Spotify launches playlists for dogs left home alone.
There is a playlist. Well, while we're waiting on that, there is a playlist on Amazon Music that we created, Christmas with a capital C. That is real.
Yeah.
We do have that one. Yep.
I'm seeing a lot of reels. And the answer is, do we have everybody answers? Oh, well, there you go. See, we have someone that has experienced it. So she says it's real. And it is real.
Did you get that from hers?
Huh?
Did you get that from Jillian's Spotify?
Sure. Sure. Yeah, because I would totally go and log into her Spotify and see what she listens to.
All right, let me read the next one.
Awkward. Go ahead.
All right. Man eats banana artwork taped to the gallery wall that was to sell for $120,000. So let me read that again. Man eats banana artwork taped to gallery wall that was to sell for $120,000. That's a very expensive banana.
No kidding. Yeah.
But what happens if the banana goes bad? Because, I mean, our bananas that we have here usually go bad in like 2 days. Of course, we keep our bananas next to the... How long...
Ooh, we have 1 fake. 3 fakes. Is it real or fake? Oh, we have one.
Fake news. Fake news.
Good job, Luke. That was awesome.
All right, here it is.
Fake news.
All right, that's great.
All right.
So
we have a lot of fakes and we have a couple of reels.
Bonus points if you get one of your parents to do the fake news, by the way. Challenge.
The answer is real.
Real.
I actually remember this. It wasn't too long ago that I heard about this.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's a fairly recent thing that happened, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know this. I'm just trying to get parents to do weird stuff.
All right, so number 3. Our dog is now playing with his toy. You may hear a squeaker in the background. So number 3, FDA approves Just Have More Faith treatment for clinical depression in Christians. Real or fake? So FDA approves Just Have More Faith treatment for clinical depression in Christians.
I don't know what the answer is because I haven't looked at it. I think it's fake.
We'll see.
I think it's fake.
What do you guys think?
I'm going fake. I think that obviously it's a good thing, but I don't think it's real.
I mean, is it really a good thing?
I don't think that
just have more faith for those who are struggling with depression.
Okay, probably. All right, maybe not.
I mean, you do need more faith.
But it could be a Babylon B article.
So fake.
Yeah.
Babylon B article.
I don't know. All right. Well.
But it's a real Babylon B article.
It is a real Babylon B article.
It is fake.
It is fake, though.
It is
if we would have been in person, we could have had a PowerPoint to show all these things.
We could have.
Here's number 4. Again, bonus points if you send me a text message with one of your parents or guardians doing fake news. Anyway, so dying for a better life, South Koreans fake their funerals for life lessons. Is that a pun?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, dying for a better life. South Koreans fake their funerals for life. Where is this going with this lesson? Like, I get it. I mean, I guess.
How do we know that Jesus is God? Because a lot of people think that Jesus.
I know, but I felt like that right there was just a really morbid.
Real, fake, real.
Fake news.
The last one was fake. It was a Babylon B article. Real. It is real.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I wish we were in person.
I do too, but
I just want to point out this was not. I wasn't a fan of this decision.
No, this is okay.
But I support it.
Yes, it really was about Babylon B article. Yes, but this one is real or fake. because they really did fake their deaths.
Don't ever
So if they
stop,
faked it,
stop.
then is it real?
Stop. Just next. Go to the next one.
Anywho, number 5, is that what we're on?
Let's go to
McDonald's
number, okay.
employee fired for asking if Happy Meal toy is for boy or girl.
Real.
McDonald's employee fired for asking if Happy Meal's toy is for boy or girl.
I would fake my own death.
What?
I would just want to see how many people would show up to the funeral. And then I would want to know if people actually
We
felt.
have 3 reels so far.
I understand. But I would want to know, we're filling in color commentary right now. But I would want to know personally whether or not people were actually sad at my funeral or if they were happy
Luke
about
would
it.
be there.
Because thank you, Luke. I feel like people wouldn't be sad if I died. Would you even be sad if I died?
Well, yeah. People would be sad if you died. And Ian would be there too. And Natalie, I feel you, because in today's society, yeah, this sounds like something that would be real, that a McDonald's employee would be fired for asking if it's for a boy or girl, but it's fake. It's
fake.
Another Babylon Bee article.
Number 6. School forces teacher to respect failing students' preferred grade of A.
Real or fake?
I don't even understand the question.
School
forces teacher to respect failing students' preferred grade of A.
So a student preferred a grade of A,
Yeah.
and the teacher was made to say, okay.
If you get an F, you can easily turn that into an A.
Well, yeah.
But they don't do that. They don't do that anymore. They digitize everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't even do that when I was in school.
He says it's another Babylon Bee article. And you would be
I don't know if it's a Babylon Bee article or not.
correct.
It is actually. It says that it is.
Yes.
I think Luke, you look at way too much Babylon Bee. Anyway,
It's fun.
last one.
Thieves steal $5 million gold toilet from Britain's Blenheim Palace. I don't even know what Blenheim is.
I don't know, but we've been watching a lot of The Crown.
Thieves steal $5 million gold toilet from Britain's Blenheim Palace. Real.
Natalie's confused. I'm going to reread that. Thieves steal $5 million gold toilet.
$5 million.
It's a $5 million gold
That's what
toilet
I
from
said.
Britain's
Blenheim.
Blenheim.
Palace.
What is Blenheim Palace?
Someone stole a gold toilet from a palace.
Can we Google that real quick? What is Blenheim? I've heard of
Buckingham.
Buckingham. I've heard of Windsor
Agreed,
Castle.
Natalie. The Crown is good, although there are some things in it that you have to be careful of. But
Yeah, we're not endorsing that. There were a
No.
few parts in there you have to kind of fast forward through.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
We have real.
Let's get back to the thing here.
It is real.
Bonus points for anybody that can tell me what this palace is. Blenheim.
I don't know.
I don't even know what that is. Okay, all right. Let's get into
Moving on.
the main thing
Yes.
because we want to keep the main thing. Kind of like how WC. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, different.
All right. So tonight we are entering into question number 2 of what is supposed to be a 4-part series. We're just going to do 3 of the 4 questions, and like we talked about.
He's on Babylon Bee. Continue.
All right. What we are going to be talking about is whether or not Jesus is God. How can we know Jesus is God more specifically? So that's an interesting question. And I want to just point out again, as we go through this, I have to imagine that these are things that some of y'all have questioned before.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad if you have questions like this. Ask them. That's what we're asking them. Ask them.
Yes.
Ask them, because that's what we're here to do. And we want to answer your questions, and we want to be here as a resource for you to answer your questions. So we're going to dive into the last question about the toilet thing. Was real. Somebody actually did that.
And Luke, if you cheated, come clean.
Why would you have a $5 million toilet? Anyway.
Anywho.
All right, y'all. So what
this
is
question? Hold on. This question of how do we know that Jesus is God is like the most important question to answer of the Christian life.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I say that? Why is knowing that Jesus is God the most important question that we need to answer?
Well,
There's your answer, Natalie, by the way. He didn't cheat. Andrew's creeping on Luke. Why is knowing Jesus is God the most important? because it's what our whole faith is centered around.
True that.
Yeah.
True that.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's move
pretty
on.
straightforward.
I think that's good. Go ahead. Onward. On you go.
So we're going to look at some evidences, just like we did last week, of how do we know that the Bible is true.
Evidences.
Evidences, yes.
Is that a word?
And we're going to start with what Jesus said about himself.
Okay.
Because whenever somebody makes a claim that they are something, you gotta look into what they are claiming and see if what they are claiming is true.
Yes. So, number one, did Jesus claim to be God? If you guys have a Bible, and you should, go to John 10:30 through 33. You know, fun fact about this, before I even realized this is what they're going to ask the reference again, so I'm going to wait until somebody asks that question. John 10:30 through 33.
And we could just post it in the chat, that way they see it.
Yeah, but I'd have to reach really far to get that.
Oh, look, Andrew posted in the chat. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Now, the interesting thing about this, I was going to say, is that today you would never guess what book and chapter I read for my personal reading.
John 10.
John chapter 10.
There you go.
I did not do the hear method on John on this verse, though. I did it on another one. So anyway, yeah, so we're going to do that. So let's understand the context of what's going on. So while you guys flipping there, let me fill you in to get you up to this point. So up to this point, Jesus is walking in the temple courts during a Jewish festival. You see, they like to have a lot of parties for God back in the day. This was just one of them. And so a group of people surrounded him, and they really tried to pin him down and trap him into some questions.
As they did all the time.
Pretty much, yeah. The religious leaders at the time, they didn't like him, and so they were basically like, hey, Jesus, we want to ask you some questions. And so one of the things they said was, they tried to pin him down with these words. How long do you keep us in doubt? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. So that's John 10:24. So what basically they're saying is, they're like, hey, we want you to tell us whether or not you're God.
Or are you not?
Are you or are you not? So the question is does he actually tell them or not that he is God or that he is not? So let's just read it. Let's pick it up in 10:30. You got it?
Yep, I
read
got it.
All right.
All right. John 10:30. I and the Father are one. Case closed. No. All right, 31. Again, the Jews picked up rocks to stone him. Jesus replied, I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of these works are you stoning me? 33. We aren't stoning you for a good work, the Jews answered, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, make yourself God. So someone had said it earlier that Jesus was actually put to death because the Jews thought that he was blaspheming, and that's true. They did not like the fact that Jesus was claiming to be God. So here, one instance, we see Jesus claimed to be God.
I think Jesus just hit him with the flex.
I mean, you could say it that way. Very true.
Works for me.
So the Jews, it was a crime because they didn't want to accept that Jesus was God. They didn't want to accept that this man that was doing all these amazing things, they actually tried to tell him that like demons were doing it through him. And Jesus is like, look, if I was doing this through demons' power, that would be dumb.
Got him.
And that was the argument.
Yeah. So and that sounds a lot like what we see today. There's many places around the world that's exactly the only reason why they don't like Jesus. Jesus comes in, claims to be God because he is God. We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Yeah. But ultimately, people just try to outcast Jesus because they just don't want to submit to the fact to say you're God. They would rather follow this mouse or whatever their idol that they have. And I don't say that to be rude toward any other country or religion, but I mean it's the fact. Yeah. So we see this. It sounds very similar again to what we see today. And so if you don't like what you're hearing, get violent. And that's essentially what they did with Jesus.
Yeah.
If you don't like what you're hearing,
try to make people believe what you want them to believe.
Yeah, make people believe what you want to believe. And that's essentially what we see going down here. And so it's one of those things where, it's not enough to believe something the way that you want to believe it. It kind of turns into a forceful thing. And we say, well, no, you need to believe it this way.
Which is interesting because most people are like that, where if you don't believe what they want you to believe, they'll try to force you. And Jesus wasn't that way.
No.
He was like, here's who I am. This is what I do. You take it and do with it what you want. Like, you can believe that I'm God. That's on you.
I believe the way that it would have been said was do with it what you will. because they say that a lot.
Actually, he would have
in the
said it
Bible.
in not English. So whatever.
Well,
I'm sure it sounded just like that. So also in John 8:23, Jesus said, I am from above. I am not of this world. And then John 8:58, Jesus says, before Abraham was, I am. I am. Who is that in the Old Testament? It's like all capitals. I am. Who claims to be I am in the Old Testament? This is a really simple question.
it is a very simple question. The answer is God.
Yes, Yahweh. So Jesus is saying, I am God.
Yeah, and I was going to wear my Yahweh shirt.
Oh,
I could have given them the answer. Anyway, yeah, and then Jesus actually makes 7 claims. We remember, guys, we did that during the lockdown.
I am.
I preached, I think, one of them,
Yeah.
or 2 of them. I
I
can't
am
remember how many I
serious.
did, but anyway. So yeah, I am. Jesus is the I am. Jesus is the way. Jesus is the only way to God. So there's a lot of claims here where Jesus is ruffling up some feathers, particularly for the religious leaders. And one of the reasons why is because they didn't want to change their lifestyles.
Yeah.
That's really what it boiled down to. And I know we've talked about that before, but I just want to continue to lay that context there. And so there's that. Yeah, that's all I had.
Yeah. So the first evidence is what Jesus says about himself. Now, the question comes up, is Jesus reliable? Can we even trust this man who claims to be God? Like, we know that he claims to be God.
Are you asking the question if Jesus is a liar?
Yes, I am. Was Jesus a liar? Because this is something that a lot of people have, like, that. Do you remember in our history courses where they talked about the search for the quest for the historical Jesus?
Yeah, I have a
There
couple
was
of books
like
about that.
years of people trying to figure out through this quest for the historical Jesus, is Jesus really who he says he is? Was Jesus a true person? Was Jesus, really who he said he was? And there are a lot of people that, yes, I am asking for a friend. There are a lot of people that agree that, okay, yeah, Jesus is who he said he was as far as, a man. He was a man, but is his claim to be God true? So
The forgotten
there you
Jesus.
go.
That
The forgotten
covers
Jesus.
the whole, that's kind of that whole, about that debate thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So then we ask the question about Jesus himself. If he claimed to be God, then, what about someone who says, well, he was just lying and everybody was just lied to, and everybody around him, what they call mass hysteria of thinking that something happened that really didn't. Everybody's just lying along with him, which would mean that like thousands of people are caught up in this one lie. And that seems kind of odd.
Yeah. I think so. Well, let's dive into it. I mean, if Brittany's wanted to ask the question on whether or not Jesus was a liar or not, let's go there. So let's start it this way. Let's look at the character of Jesus first. All right, Brittany, I want you to look up John 13.
We're not gonna read the whole.
All right. Instead of doing John 13, how about Matthew 5:8?
I can do that.
Let's do Matthew 5:8.
Matthew 5:8. Should read the whole chapter.
All right, so we're going to look at the character of Jesus. And while she's going there, what you're going to notice, if you think about it through the 4 Gospels, you see this trend of Jesus's service and character always being geared not toward himself, but toward others. Bang out Matthew 5:8 real quick.
Matthew 5:8 is part of Jesus's Sermon on the Mount, and he says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God."
Yeah, so not only do we see in the book of John, particularly John 13, if we would have time to read it, what you would have seen is Jesus washing the feet of the other disciples. The God, Son of God, Jesus, bowing down, washing feet. Now, I know that we've heard that story before, but don't overthink or don't overlook the significance of that story, because what that significance of the story is that here is God humbling himself down lower than man and saying, I love you. I'm here to serve you. Therefore, serve me, kind of deal.
And that doesn't sound like someone of bad character.
No. That's
sound...
humility. That's major humility. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Would you wash somebody's feet? Brittany won't even let me touch her feet.
I don't like feet. I guess.
Not that I would personally want to, but it does give us a good illustration of what's going on here. What we read in 5:8, that's one of the Beatitudes, if I'm not mistaken. Read it one more time. 5:8.
Did I say Sermon on the Mount?
Yes.
That was wrong.
Well, no, it's in the Sermon on the Mount.
Oh.
This
That's
is
right.
This is within the Sermon on the Mount.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God.
Yeah.
So basically, Jesus' teaching showed his character. He taught about truth, which would mean that he would not be a liar,
Yeah.
or else he'd be a hypocrite. And we know that Jesus was not a hypocrite. He was like bashing and casting shade on the hypocrites.
So not only do we see a pure heart, and another thing about the washing of the feet thing, I don't want to leave this out. I want to come back to it real quick. That was typically reserved for the lowest of the low in society.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things that in that culture during that time, it was a very, very big thing to do to wash the feet. And we see that Jesus has a pure heart. Let's look at the second one. Let's take a look at Jesus' motives. Let's look up which one you want to take. Let's do. Let's go to Luke. We've been in Matthew. We've been in John.
Are we looking all these up?
Luke 22:42, real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, just Luke 22:42. And let's just read that one. We're going to talk about this particular reference. Go ahead and read that one.
Okay. Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done.
So not only do we see a rejection of people from Jesus, but yet we see Jesus here saying, Father, if you would take this cup from me, then take it. However, if you want me to do this, I'm going to do it. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The fact that
Think of that
Jesus
motive.
was willing to die kind of gives some credibility behind his claims.
I think so.
Like, I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that that calling him a liar doesn't make sense just because that's just a few of the claims. But if you look at it and you try to say, well, why would you just be a liar? Well, it doesn't really line up. Like none of these claims line up. Like, well, he was selfish. No, actually,
really.
no, he was the exact opposite. What's another one? His motives were, all about glorifying himself.
No.
It
was about glorifying
not
God.
at all, which I think is the same thing as being selfish. But anyway, you get the
or
point.
He was power hungry. That he
Power
wanted
hungry.
Power, and that was totally
No. Again, wash the feet of people.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
All right.
In other words, Jesus is not a liar because his character shows the complete opposite. He always taught on truth. Jesus is not a liar because his motives
All right,
were
so
not
listen.
to build himself up, but to build
All right.
God up and his kingdom up.
All right. So listen, I get it. Your claim about Jesus being a liar. I get it. That was a good question. We answered that. But
I have a better
think
one. I have a better question other than is Jesus a liar? Was Jesus cray-cray? Was Jesus a lunatic? Was he just, what are some other terms for crazy? Off his rocker?
Off his rocker?
I don't know.
You don't even know what a rocker is.
Anywho.
Did you? I think school has fried her brain.
Maybe.
All right. Well, let's look at that. Was Jesus crazy? Was Jesus a lunatic? Was Jesus off his rocker? What is that?
So there's a quote by a man whose name is Peter Kreeft. He's a Christian philosopher. What a name, by the way.
You
Go
asked
ahead.
the question. How
Go
am I
ahead. Sorry.
supposed to?
Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Okay. So Peter Kreeft, a Christian philosopher, states, a measure of your insanity is the size of the gap between what you think you are and what you really are. It's kind of a tough quote to wrap your mind around a little bit. So let me repeat that. A measure of your insanity is the size of the gap between what you think you are and what you really are. So in other words, if I were to state that I am an egg.
I agree, Andrew. She is crazy. Cray. Sorry.
So if I were to state that I'm an egg, how insane would you say that I am? Would you say that, you're somewhat insane? Or would you say that I'm like ridiculously insane because I state that I'm an egg? Joey's playing with his squeaker toy. Going back to the quote, a measure of your insanity is the size of the gap between what you think you are and what you really are. I can think that I'm an egg. I can even say that I'm an egg, but I'm not an egg. And that would be insane for me to claim something that I am not.
I don't know. If you feel like being an egg, why can't you be an egg?
In today's society, you can do whatever you want because that's what you feel. My gap between the two is very huge. Yes, very true. So another way to look at it is you could either say that someone is being extremely arrogant or they're just being insane. So there's a difference between arrogance and insanity. So what if I said that I was the greatest teacher in the world? Or if you said you're the greatest teacher in the world.
Well, I know that I'm not the greatest teacher in the world, so I wouldn't make that claim.
Well, I'm claiming I'm the greatest teacher in the world. What would you guys say I am? Would you say that I'm insane?
I would say that she's cray-cray. Because everybody knows who the greatest teacher in the world is.
I would say that I'm being arrogant.
I think that's a fair term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you were to claim to be like Andy Mineo?
I don't want to be Andy Mineo.
I wouldn't either. But what if you made that claim that you were Andy Mineo?
I would rather
That's
be.
your opinion.
I would rather be Ian.
You'd rather be Ian?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because he just had a birthday and he probably got all sorts of cool stuff.
Okay. So going back to that quote.
Oh, wait, you were asking me a question.
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay.
Measure of your insanity is the size of the gap between what you think you are and what you really are. So in other words, Jesus was not just thinking that he was something and claiming something.
He was. He is.
The size of the gap between what he thought he was and what he claimed to be and what he really was there was no gap because he was what he claimed to be.
Gap.
He was what he was claiming to
We're
be.
bogging down into this one.
Yeah, that was a little complicated.
Yeah. So let's look at it this way. The tricky thing is, for those who want to say that Jesus was cray-cray or a lunatic or anything like that, there's no absolute truth to those claims. There's no evidence to those claims, and it doesn't. There's no other characteristics of Jesus that would point to him being insane. Jesus always gives clear answers. People were amazed at his teaching. He taught with authority. So the things that he did were clear. They were there. There was no question about it. The only people that questioned it were the people that didn't like him.
Yeah.
And the people that didn't like him were the ones that he was kind of talking about. So that's kind of on them.
Yeah.
So that's I like this one. Some people claim that Jesus was a demon.
Yes. Yes.
However, we know that can't be true. Because one, God is good, and if anything comes from God, God is like a demon can't come into like God and like that can't mix. God and demon can't mix. But Jesus cast out demons, and the demons knew his name, and the demons were scared of him. So how can you claim that he was a demon?
That was Jesus' point. He's like, look, y'all,
Satan wouldn't fight against himself.
Yeah. So the claim that Jesus is a liar. And that everybody around him was just lying and giving him his lies.
Fear is a liar.
The claim that he's a lunatic, both of those are not quite standing up.
I may personally be a lunatic.
So the final question is Jesus Lord? He claims that he was Lord, but is he actually Lord?
I think the answer to that is yes. And the reason why I say is that John, in the first verse of John, clearly states that Jesus is Lord. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
And it kind of goes back to our last conversation of how do we know the Bible is true? And we looked at those evidences and we found out that the Bible is true because God worked through a bunch of different people to make the same exact claims, just slightly different to reflect their own personalities and their own viewpoint. The fact that all these people, and even today, people are following Jesus, like thousands and millions of people are following Jesus.
Millions,
yeah. Are we giving into a lie by doing that? Are we just, now, you could say that a lot of people, in other religions are doing the same thing. But here's the kicker. Our Christianity is different than every other religion, because Jesus claims to be God. And not many other religions actually have a leader that seriously claimed to be God.
Messengers.
I mean, the God.
You have messengers.
Yes.
So essentially you have prophets.
Like Muhammad or Buddha or Confucius or Joseph Smith in Mormonism. They all claim to be like prophets or good teachers.
What about the Dalai Lama?
Or the Dalai Lama. And the fact,
I'm sorry guys, I've been prepping to preach this weekend all day, so I'm not following well.
The fact that all of those religious leaders in every other religion have died.
including the Lolly Dama.
The Dalai Lama. All of them have died.
No, you bring up a very good point, and that's one of the things that Pastor Jeff talks about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he talks about how he's been to Israel multiple times and he's seen a tomb and the tomb is empty. He said, you go visit any of those other people that claim to be of some deity in reference to God or a God or their image of God, every single one of them died. They're in the grave. You can dig them up and you will find traces of them.
Now, some people try to claim that they found Jesus's body or stuff like that.
That can't be true.
That's not true.
That can't be true because there were an eyewitness account that saw Jesus almost like a scene out of Star Wars ascend up into heaven. So, I mean.
So it's his resurrection. The fact that he did die, but he came back. That's what sets
I have parents texting me about the Lolly Dama. I'm not going to say who. You know who you are because you can hear me. Anyway.
It's his resurrection that sets him apart from every other religion. And that's how we know that his truths, what he claims to be true, that he is God. Only one variant.
Yeah. So, it's a very, very interesting thing here. I think one of the other things that one of the other things out in addition to this claim is we see here, we the way that what's so different and unique about Jesus. And if you've already said this, because I was just looking at my phone, I'm sorry, but I think it's worth repeating. I don't think you've said this though. You would expect the Son of God to show up as a great warrior, as a mighty king, which he did. Don't get me wrong; he's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? So,
but on the outward appearance,
but on the outward appearance of hey, look at me. Jesus came with this mentality of, hey, look at him. Yeah. Yes, I am him. He is me. We are one. But everything he did pointed to God. And I always think that's very interesting because Jesus chose to identify with us even when he didn't have to. Yeah. And I think that is one of the most unique things that we see in our faith and in our Christian faith. And that's what gives us hope, because we know that when we struggle, when we fall short, when we go through different things, even death, our Savior, our God, identifies with us. And I think that really sets things apart when it comes to our faith. I mean, our faith in God versus other religions. But you can't make that claim. No. Yeah. No. Not really make the claim.
We get that from Philippians 2:5-11, which is a very beautiful passage. It's also a very much debated passage, but because there's a lot going on here. Let's just read Philippians 2:5-11. I'm going to repeat that. Philippians 2:5-11. Yes, Jesus did look like an average person. And he did things that far exceed what any of us could do. That's very true. Yeah. Philippians 2:5-11. You want to read that?
Sure. Yeah, I'll read it. I just have to turn this a little ways here. We got her tablet here in front of us. Adopt the same attitude as that of Christ Jesus, who, existing in the form of God, did not consider equality with God as something to be exploited. Instead, he emptied himself by assuming the form of a servant, taking on the likeness of humanity. And when he had come as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even to death on a cross. For this reason, God highly exalted him, and he gave him the name that is above every name, so that the name of Jesus, every knee will bow in heaven and on earth and under earth, and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. It's a beautiful passage.
It really is.
Why you would debate that? No idea.
Well, it's the emptied himself part that is really debated.
Yeah, but we're not talking about
in other words, Jesus came down to be like us. And that's what we're talking about in the Christmas season. That's the incarnation. That Jesus is Lord, and Jesus came down to be not a Lord, but he came down to be like us so that he could point us to the Lord and claim to be God himself.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So I don't think Jesus was a liar. Yeah. I don't think that Jesus was a lunatic, but I clearly think that he was Lord.
Yeah.
based on our short little survey here.
Yeah. And one of the best evidences to give people, and it may not be enough, even all this evidence may not be enough to convince people. Remember last week we said that these evidences aren't supposed to get people to come over to our side or come over to God's side. It's to remind us and to encourage us to continue sharing that Jesus is Lord. God's got to work in people's hearts if they don't know that He is Lord. He's got to do the work there. Our work is to show people who God is to us, and that's one of the best evidences that we have as Christians is that we know Jesus is Lord because of who He is to me.
But
yeah,
I think there's a clear but that needs to take place there. Not the God that you think He is, but the God that He is, that Revelation 4 kind of God that we talked about, and in Revelation 5, which would be Jesus. But
what He continues to do for us, and what he continues to
not to get that confused with prosperity, though.
Well, yeah. There's a fine line. So I think that's about it.
Oh, you've done a really swell job of really covering this tonight, I think.
So we could end with C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I want to say it in my best British accent because if you guys remember the scene from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe where the professor is talking to the kids about Lucy, and they're trying to say that it's not, is what she's saying, is what she's claiming to be true. It kind of sounds ridiculous. So the professor says, if she's not lying and she's not mad, then logically she must be telling the truth. Been watching too much Crown. So like that, logically, she must be telling the truth. If she's not a lunatic, if she's not mad, then clearly she's telling the truth. Just like that, if Jesus is not a lunatic, if he's not a liar, and if he's not mad, then clearly he's telling the truth, that He is Lord.
This Bladen County boy ain't gonna try that British accent. I can tell you that. But it is a good quote, and it does bring up a good point, and a good really place to just kind of end on. I mean, Jesus is who He claims He is, because clearly, like we talked about last week, the evidence is there to support it. Now, again, you can choose not to believe that, but then ultimately that comes down to the choice that you make. The choice that we all make. And so whether we believe in Him, whether we choose to believe in Him, or we choose to not believe in Him. Yeah. So that choice then goes back into your court on that one. Yep. So, that's all I had to say. I don't have a lot to say here. You've really kind of taken it all. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't have to talk all the time. I talk enough.
So are there any questions or comments or concerns about anything we've talked about? And I love the Chronicles of Narnia, by the way. I have read that series.
You read them this year.
Was it this year?
Over the summer, I think it was.
Yeah, I love them. They're so good.
Oh, this is good, y'all. All right, I have to show you this. Hold on, I gotta save this video first.
Thank you, Luke, for sending these awesome videos.
All right, so I just want to point out this is your teaching pastor that we have entrusted to teach you and me the truths that are found in the Bible. You gotta love them, you really do. So
says the person who came up like staring at the computer until like halfway through.
Yeah, but I'm the student pastor. They expect that. Of course, Pastor Chris was a student pastor, and I would have loved to have been in his student ministry. All right, y'all. Here we go. We're going to end on this note right here. All right.
Fake news.
Awesome.
So good. One more time.
Fake news.
Yeah. Fake news.
But what we're saying is not fake news.
No, it's real news. That was just from earlier. So bonus points to Luke for that. That was really good. Hey guys, we want to thank you for commenting, and subscribing. Make sure you hit the smash like button, and make sure that you do not follow the Lolly Dama and everything will be fine in your life. No, I'm just kidding. Do you have anything else you want to add to that before we close out?
I don't think so.
I do want to say though that that if you're watching this and you're not one of the people that we normally talk to, we pray that you were encouraged by what you heard tonight as we kind of stumbled through this stuff in a very fun way. But we would encourage you to consider the question: is who is Jesus to you? And that He offers you the free gift of salvation that comes by just confessing your sins to Him and saying, you know what, God, I'm a sinner. I understand that Jesus came and He died for me. Repent of those things, confess Him as Lord, and He died for you. And so to understand that, and so
and confessing Him as Lord means that you are giving your life over to Him.
Yeah.
That your life is lived for Him. That
doesn't mean perfection, but it does mean obedience, which comes through reading the Bible and understanding a lot of the stuff what we talked about here. Why did Jesus wash His feet? Why did He come? And basically to serve others and to make God known. And that's our job as believers as well. So we would encourage you to consider that. And outside of that, that's I think that's pretty much it. Just don't forget to smash like that button. And we'll see y'all at some point in the near future.
Be on the lookout for that Instagram post for the poll to find out what you guys want to watch for the movie. Not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday for a Generate Connect.
Yeah, next week, not this week. So,
yeah.
All right, guys, we love you, and we will see y'all at some point in the near future. Y'all take care and stay classy.
Bye.